And we should be live. Hello and welcome back. You're listening to Let's Drone Out. Tonight you're joined by my lovely darling wife.
Bonjour. I don't know.
I'm your host, Brighton Till I Fly. And our guests tonight are sorry, Serb, but Cerebrus.
I am one of
It's the name of the dogs in Resident Evil.
I'm not familiar with the branch.
Or it could be Jack's problems.
Being a dick. Sorry.
Anyway, hello.
Hi everyone out there in podcast land.
And we are joined as well by Matt, or Mini Rolls Rule.
Hey everyone.
And you guys have been running, is it the bird racing Birmingham International Race Days?
Yeah. Birmingham International Race Day. We were on here, a month or so ago, where I gave you most of the background. But back then I didn't have the super cool sticker for the event.
That is cool.
I want to show you that. It's a bit blurry. Yeah, it's a little bit on the white side. There you go. So Birmingham International Race Day, it was basically put together a few years ago. There you go. Thanks for sorting that one out. Put together a few years ago by myself after Spezi Lover, one of the German pilots, had finished flying against everyone in Germany and wanted another challenge, so decided to come over or challenge us to come over and race us. So we put together a race for him. Oh, all right. And he came over and he won because he's a quick pilot. Our UK pilot Rory Tooley, Rory RC, he came in second, which was great. I think Stefan Fischer came in third. That was back in 2020, just before all COVID kicked off. And then pretty much every year since then, we've put on the Birmingham International Race Day, where pilots from across the globe are invited to come to Birmingham and fly against other tiny whoop pilots.
I was going to say, is it just whoops?
Yeah, we just do whoops.
Cool.
So we invite everyone to come over. We set up a course. We organise a big competition, and this year was the biggest yet. We had 48 pilots, all come to the UK from Poland, Latvia, Germany, Italy. We even had some guys claiming to be from Jamaica, although there's a
Jamaican.
I think they lived in the UK, but they had Jamaican heritage. But we'll count that. That's fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
They all came here to fly in our race, and these are the results up on screen because we've had the race now.
And that was what, last weekend?
Yeah, that was the weekend just gone. So 27th and 28th of January.
Oh yeah, I can see that now. And are these all your sponsors?
Yes, we had some incredible support this year. Like I say, biggest event yet. So we moved out of Drop Shot, which we had last year, which was a funky venue, but a little bit on the janky side when it came to plumbing. And we're in a proper venue now in Millennium Point, which is a big sort of exposition and conference centre right in the centre of Birmingham, that also hosts the Think Tank Science Museum. So they're really on board, like promoting STEM subjects. So they were, when I came to them with this idea, they were like, "Yes, sounds great, but we're definitely going to have to talk to our health and safety guy about it," because obviously everyone goes a bit nuts when we talk about flying drones.
Yeah.
How the hell did you manage to get Hobby RC?
Yeah, they super supportive, all of them. But yeah, Hobby RC, I got in touch with them a couple of months. This must have been like September time, and I was like, "Look, there are 2 or 3 shops in the UK that support like Whoop and drone stuff. You are one of those shops, and I want one of you to be involved. Now, if you aren't involved, somebody else will be. So get on board." And they were like, "Yep, cool, we're there, we'll support you." And they put up a good like a really like decent prize package of prizes. Let me drag up my list actually, because the amount of sponsorship we had was incredible. Where's my tracker? There it is.
I was just looking to see if there's any old school names on there, because there must be some new pilots floating around.
Yeah, so Hobby RC themselves put up about £150 in like vouchers,
Nice.
which is incredibly generous of them. So really thank them a lot for doing that. Altogether, we had about £2,500 worth of prizes and over £350 in cash up for grabs, because there were cash prizes this year.
Sweet.
So yeah, we had some really, really good support from our sponsors. We had, like you say, we had Hobby RC on board, but our like gold sponsor for this year was Happy Model. Happy Model sent over a huge package of like flight controllers, receivers, motors, frames, props, like a whole bunch of them, and put up some of the prize money as well. So they really came through and really want to support the local tiny whip scene, which is really cool, because obviously without that sort of level of support, we can't put on these grand events. So that was good. And then so they were our gold sponsor. We had Tiny Whoop, Mr. Jesse P himself, and We Bleed FPV. They were both our silver sponsors, so they had pride of place out on our track as well, alongside Happy Model. Jesse, as you might have remembered, was over last year, but he couldn't join us this year, unfortunately. But we had a good time. We were poking fun at him in the chat. He popped in to say hi, which was nice.
Nice.
I know he's super busy looking after little George, his little boy. So that's cool.
George was just about to be born, wasn't he?
Yeah, last year he had to run off really quickly from the event to get back to make sure he was there to catch the baby as it was born, because it was that close.
We've flown with him, haven't we, Jack? It was a fair few years ago, but we've definitely flown with Jesse and met Jesse. That was, I think that was probably 6, maybe 7 years ago, I reckon.
Yeah, it was.
Where were we? London
Comic-Con,
that was it. We'd done some kind of flying demo thing there years and years ago. That was cool. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, such a genuine,
super cool guy. Yeah, it was fun to commentate with him last year. We were hoping we could get him back this year, but it just didn't quite align. Stars didn't quite align. But I have heard a rumor that he'll be back next year, so we'll see how that goes.
So is it going to be held in the same place?
I'm pushing that rumor to put some social pressure on him to come up.
Is it going to be held the same place every year, like in Birmingham?
Well, that's the thing. So we had a really, really good event at Millennium Point, so much so that at one point the event coordinator came over with the health and safety guy to have a chat with me, and I was like, oh God, here we go. But he literally came over and just like shook my hand and said, guys, you've put on an amazing event, like super happy, all the prep you've done, all the risk assessments. I had to sign off on a lot, but it was all really good. I mean, there was like stacks of parchment making up like these risk assessments and all the meetings and stuff we went to. But yeah, so he was super happy, and they seemed very keen to have us back. And the other thing that makes us likely to go back there is that pretty much everyone had really good video on the day. Like we had almost no video complaints. Like there were 1 or 2, but out of like 50 pilots, having the occasional video thing is like unheard of. You'd usually expect a lot more like video issues. So we think it was a really good venue. Speaking of the venue, like, sir, what did you think about it?
The way they treated us was really just such a breath of fresh air. You know, that's such a professional team, and they were wary of us because they're a bunch of crazy guys with drones. But Matt is absolutely brilliant at the paperwork side. I think we had something like 6 meetings with them, 4 face to face. So it was a very corporate environment, but Matt and I both come in our day jobs from corporate environments, so we know how to have those conversations. And they trusted us and we trusted them. We had a good relationship, but they were very much waiting to see what it was like.
I think they sort of expected me to hand them like the back of a fag packet with a few things like don't crash into people and like don't set stuff on fire, and that would be about it. But no, we had much work to put on some put together a decent risk.
when we spoke to them kind of at the back end, once we were packing up and we were out the door, and we had a brief chat with them. There'll be a proper debrief coming, but they were like, "Wow, yeah, you did like everything you said and more, and it was amazing, and nobody died like you said they wouldn't die. It was really cool, and please would you come back next year?" I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
they were super happy to have us. I think also because it's a conference center, they get a lot of like dry people up on stage talking about dry subjects, and to have someone come in and fly drones around was a bit of a breath of fresh air.
So how long did it take you to set up the area, like with your gates and things like that? Because you were talking off stream about hanging stuff and
yeah, so that was probably the most ambitious time frame part of the whole event. This is the bit of the event that people don't see, right? Is the setup and the prep in the background. But obviously you get go day and you're like, right, I've got to set up everything we need. So we've got to like set out the pits, set out the barriers, put up the netting, set up the live stream, the VAR, the track cameras, the track itself. All of that had to go up in one evening on the Friday, ready to literally come in the next day and just click go, start racing. And we ended up quite over time, but the venue let us do it, and they were pretty supportive, and they sort of grim and bared it while we got on with it. But yeah, one of the major elements this year, which is one of the reasons I really wanted to get into Millennium Point, and again they were happy to do it with us, is to put out a set of gates out in space. And when I say in space, I mean they've got a huge atrium, which is basement to fourth floor open, like a huge area. And I strung climbing rope across it, and then set up like a pulley system to pull gates out right into the center of that atrium, so that when you kind of came up the stairs, like with your whoop, like you do at home, you kind of go up the stairs, it's all like tight and twisty. You then go off the balcony, and suddenly you're like out into this expanse and shooting across, absolutely nailing these batteries at top speed out into space. And it was incredible to see on video how different it is to being in this like tight little environment going fast, and then to still be going full throttle, but obviously with a huge area, it looks like you're hardly moving, and then approaching these gates and they're just like shooting past you. It was really cool.
How many were flying at the same time? Was it 4 up, 6 up? What
yeah, we had 4 whoops up at a time. It seems to be the most reliable number of whoops you can get in the air at any one time. Indoors is always a challenge with the video, but we had good video, but we had four whoops up at once, just to try and not push it too far. We want to make sure we had a reliable, like, to get through 50 pilots. It was hard work as it was without video issues. If we had video issues, it would have been a freaking nightmare.
And what sort of race length? What was a lap? And how many laps did they do?
So part of the joy of doing the event is I get to set the track. So we had a lot of features on there, and I was aiming that the plan was get the track set up, fly it, take some DVR, and then send it out to all the pilots. That is what I would love to have done ideally. But we ended up about 2 hours overdue to leave to finish setting up on the Friday. And I didn't have a chance to fly the track, which was really annoying because I still haven't flown any of my tracks. But I do it a lot, our regular meets, so that's fine. But I would have liked to have flown this one just to get the idea to fly. But we set up the track, got it all up and running, and it ended up, I was figuring if I could get the track to be about 45 seconds long on my first pack, then that would be about right, because I'm sort of lower mid-table sort of pilot, and on my first, on pack after pack, you'll get quicker, right? So if I can do a whole lap in about 45 seconds, then that means the fast guys will be doing that in 20 seconds by the time they get up quick. And the slow guys, okay, they might be doing a minute, but then that's enough. You can get 3 minutes out of a whoop if you're being nice to it. There you go. You just see in the video heading
Wow,
out.
yeah.
Nuts, right? Oh yeah, we put a dive gate up there. I completely forgot to mention the dive gate.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
They let us hang this wooden structure off the side of their balcony, above like four stories, and then dive whoops through it. Like, just nuts. They were on board with everything we wanted to do, which was incredible.
That is awesome.
It's fine if that wood's made out of balsa.
It was like really, really thin, like narrow gauge, like just timber. But it was held up with so much string, like you wouldn't have got it down in any hurry.
A cursory glance at the timings I've got here that I can get to quickly say that the fastest lap was about a 29-second lap.
29.
Yeah. So it ended up a little longer than I had planned. I think some of the slower pilots were doing it like at a minute 10, a minute 20 a lap, which is a little bit longer than I had planned. But everyone seemed to enjoy the track, which was good. Right, yeah. So on the first day, on the Saturday, we did the qualifying, and then maybe if you swap to Serb's screen, he'll be able to show you the actual one. This one was done in like the planning stages. But on the Saturday, we did qualifying, so everybody got 8 attempts to set their fastest laps. And we did it in groups. So you would have a set of pilots, you have 12 pilots go up in the morning, and then a second group and a third group, and then in the evening we'd have a fourth group of 12 pilots. And that's how we got through all 48 qualifying. And it meant that you got your batteries quite close together, so you didn't have to wait around for like hours, because a lot of pilots have mentioned to me that being able to do back-to-back batteries helps them get into the zone a bit better and produce better times. Do you guys find that?
I haven't raced for years, but yeah, when I was doing 5-inch racing, it was the sitting around killed me. You could do 2-minute race and then sit around for an hour and a half, and then you've only flown like 5 minutes. It's 2 minutes. It's a nightmare. But that sounds good. What are people running at the moment then? Are they running 1S, 2S, 3S? What's going on?
So we spec'd the whoops so that it would be 1S ducted 65mm whoops. You could run analog or digital VTXs. We didn't mind, and mandated that you had to have LEDs on them, so that it would be easy for like the spectators to spot the whoops.
I was going to ask, did you have spectators?
Yeah, we did. We had quite a lot, particularly when it came to the finals day. So on finals day, everyone had done their qualifying and were set into 3 different brackets. So we had the hobbyist bracket, the advanced bracket, and the elite bracket. And on finals day, we had like, even in like the hobbyist bracket, people were like yelling and screaming like, "Come on, you can do it!" People were really going for it, because unlike other 5-inch or any other sort of like drone racing, I have my own unique format in how I run my finals, which bears explaining, because there is method in the madness. So for your guys looking at home, this is the hobbyist final, and if you start on the left of the screen, you'll see it says heat 1, heat 2, heat 3, heat 4. So we had 16 pilots come into the hobbyist finals, and they were all battling to find out whether they'd end up in what position they'll end up in. But because I want to reward like consistency and like good flying straight off the bat, you'd have to run your race all in the heats. You'd have to end up in the first or second position to move up to the upper semis. And if you're in the lower 2 positions, so third or fourth in your heat, you would move into the lower semis. And if you were in the lower semis, it would limit how high up you could score later on, because you'd lost a race. So you unfortunately, people that didn't lose a race or came higher up than you deserve to win. You deserve to go on higher. And that's the method in the madness, is that you would have, if you wanted to get into the 1 to 4 final, you have to win 2 races off the bat. You'd have to come in the top 2 positions and 2 races consecutively to get into that 1 to 4 final. And then you'd have to win your 1 to 4 final to find out if you're in first or second, third, or fourth place. So, there's a bit of madness in there that it doesn't line up with any other ideas of. of
And
racing. But
it also means if you're running in second in your race, you don't necessarily need to push to overtake into first. If you can protect your second place, you're going through. And if you're in third, you need to push because you're in the drop. So the bottom two drop, the upper two go up. So it puts some interesting tactics into it in how you're going to run that race.
And also it means that every single race means something. So even right off the bat, the first race you go into has an effect on where you're going to end up. You know, you can't take it easy. You got to push right from the beginning. And that means that every single race has a meaning, and every single race is worth putting a lot of effort into, because this is it. This is the crunch time. You got to produce. So it makes for some really compelling watching and really compelling like flying, even in like hobbyist class. There were some great battles, particularly between where was it? I was having a quick get my face a bit closer to the screen. Was it that one? Idrisil. It was Idrisil versus Thornbury, I think, in the 5-8 final. Yeah, and they had an incredible battle going on to see who would end up in 5th place or 6th place. You know, because then it really made a difference. They'd worked their way up to this, like, as high up the tree as they could get, and then it was like, right, it is crunch time. You've got to push, and they really did, and it was an incredible flight.
In fact, they shared the victory in that final because they were literally side by side as they went into the crash gate. And we looked at the VAR playback. We talked to the spotters. We looked at the cameras that were on the crash gate, and we're like, do you know what? I can't call that. So they were given a joint victory in that one. The really amazing thing that really struck me about all of the finals is applause. At the end of every round of every piece of the finals, applause broke out in the pits.
Yeah.
Like, people were so invested in it, and it was like so exciting. They were having such fun. Like nobody held up an applaud banner, you know. Like they just broke into applause at the end of every round. It was so cool, really cool.
That was something I really liked, because it means that it means something to them, but also it's the community spirit of Tiny Whoop like coming out. Like, everyone's here to race and go as fast as possible, right? But people were helping each other in the pits, like sort out their whoops, like fixing things, borrowing each other's like cameras the night before because they like napped them up, like practicing and stuff.
I'm so amazed how many whoops we didn't destroy after a 5-story drop onto a concrete floor.
Yeah, some whoops went literally from ceiling level at the 4th story down into the basement onto concrete. A couple died, but like most of them, a lot of people crashed.
I was going to say, quite hard to pull out with a 1S battery from a dive, I should think. Probably take
and
4 floors.
Some batteries got abused beyond their life, trying to get round.
So how did the public get to know that it was there? Could they pass through? Because it was a weekend, wasn't it? So people were walking past.
Yeah. So Millennium Point is quite open. They have like a main thoroughfare through, and anybody who was walking through would see whoops shooting out from the platform, going through these gates up in air, and then coming back down, shooting back into the platform area where we had the majority of the track. So they were like stopping and going, "Oh, what the hell's going on here?" And they were like, so several people came over and came into the race area to have a look what was going on, which was wicked.
Yeah.
But in addition to just having the whoop racing there, I'm trying to create like this sort of weekend vibe where you can come along, bring your like Christmas presents, or come along and just try out a bit of FPV, try out a bit of drone racing. So we had the guys from Drone Soccer there who had line of sight drones, but they're inside a ball. So and then there's like 5-a-side football but going on, but with drones, and you deliberately crash into each other. Now we all know you don't crash a drone, like that's the last thing you want to do, right? But in these things, they've got these bumper cages around, and you literally try and knock each other out of the air. So they had their whole setup there, and people would be able to turn up, give it a go, like smash these drones around, have a real good time. And the pilots would go down there as well in their break and be like, "Yeah, I'll give it a go." apparently some of them were pretty good. So they might be trying out for the UK drone soccer team, which will be wicked.
I've not heard of that before. That's interesting.
No, you should get them. I don't know if you should get them on Let's Drone Out, because they're really interesting chaps, and they've got some good stories from Korea where the whole drone soccer thing started.
Well, they did their first ever interview on camera at Bird.
Yeah.
So
we dragged them up on the live stream, pointed the camera in their faces, and be like, "Right, go."
Nice.
That was good fun.
I never got on with whoops. It was a few years ago when we were flying them, wasn't it, Jack?
Yeah, they're much. I think they're much better now. They're brushless.
They look it, yeah, they do look.
Hey Barrett.
Yeah, you get some love. Do you want to read that out?
Bearat in the chat. Bearat, where is he? There, him. He was the guy filming the tour around Millennium Point you just saw.
Okay.
And then Viking, one of the guys down from from Cornwall. I don't know how he managed it, but he ended up not having any whoops on the day of the finals, and he'd done pretty well. So I was like, look, I'm not using my whoop. It's in my bag with all my stuff. Just kind of crack on with that. And he ended up. What position did he come in? I can't remember now. It's on the list somewhere.
I think he got to the finals, didn't he?
Yeah, he got through to the finals. He won some prizes, which was great. So that was really cool, and he wouldn't have been able to take part if I hadn't just given him my drone. But it's not just me that does that, other people were helping out with parts, helping tuning stuff. And this is the great thing about tiny whoops, is they are like toys. They're these tiny little things. They don't really weigh anything. They look like toys. You just piss around with them at home, but they can go really fast, and you can have a decent race with them. And it was good that people were had the camaraderie and community spirit to help people out and fix their drones with them and stuff.
And they're all running 25 milliwatt. Did you check all that before?
Yeah. We had a full check-in desk where we went through the specs, made sure people's fail-safes were working. They had the right frame size, prop size, VTX, all of that. So saying basically miniaturized version of the 5-inch scene. That was the idea.
Basically, you had to convince my wife that you were in a fit place to fly, and then she'd sign you in.
Yeah, I think some of the pilots were glad they were later on in the day after the whoop house, because they were hanging a bit from a party the night before.
Yes,
that was really cool.
I'm very lucky that the good lady wife gets stuck in and is a valued member of staff of FPV Racing Solutions.
Yeah, I was very lucky. She was happy to step. Well, I don't know if happy is the right word. She agreed to step in and do some of the technical check-in stuff for us. I'm very grateful to you, Sam. Thank you very much for helping. Is that north or south? What's the question? Where it was located? It was located in Birmingham, right in the centre.
Yeah. There's also a little bit of Virat saying he tried to sneak a tiny trainer through the tech in, but unfortunately got disqualified because it didn't have LEDs.
See, it should have put LEDs on. LEDs make life better. Everybody knows this. Worth mentioning, actually, when you said the tiny trainer, we did, as I say, I'm trying to create this sort of weekend sort of festival straight after Christmas where you can bring your stuff along, have a go, get it up and flying. I spoke about the drone soccer where you could just come along and just have a go on their stuff, and they were happy to let people do that. We also had demonstrations flying the DRC boys. So we had Matt Frost, Matt Ince, and Mike Brooks, Inferno FPV, all flying cine whoops around, so showing what you can do with bigger drones, and that they can carry GoPros and stuff, and you can do a bit of cinematic flying. So we had some of that going on, which was great in the breaks. And then we also had Rory RC Tooley back. So he, like I said, he competed in the first bird and came second. He's moved on and done mostly wing stuff since. So we said, oh, well, come along, we'll give you a little taster of it, try and whet your appetite, get you back into the whoops. And he brought his foam wings along, which I don't know, they're like this sort of size wings. And he did this incredible acrobatics. I don't know how he does it. I can fly.
I think I've seen him flying at shows.
Yeah, he does a lot of shows, and he competes out in like the Middle East and stuff. He's an incredible
it's definitely him then. Yeah, I've seen
He's
him
absolutely
do line of
incredible.
sight stuff. Yeah.
So we were very lucky to have him come along and show us what he can do. He stuck some videos up on YouTube and stuff as well. Actually, maybe my glamorous assistant can dig one out. The what he can do with a wing, I don't understand how you do it. Like he makes it do things that planes shouldn't do. Like they're just not. It's beyond belief. So we were lucky to have him back, and he was doing this incredible like acrobatics display, showing off all the different crazy maneuvers he can do, which was great. So we had stuff you can get involved in, stuff you can watch. We had the main event, which was obviously the drone racing going on. We had Millennium Point also host, like I say, Think Tank, which is the Birmingham Science Museum. They came out and did a workshop for kids or anyone who turned up, where they could make little paper airplanes and little paper helicopters and throw them off and have a little learn a bit about flight and which bits work best and which bits don't. So that was cool. Get your hands on stuff.
That sounds like a flight test day weekend.
It's basically, I want to see if we can create this sort of like mini weekend festival where people can come along and get their hands on something, because people are so scared of like drones that we want to show like the safe, fun part of it. You see these huge drones with like massive, like knife-sized props spinning around, and they make a terrible racket, and they're just demonized by so many people that actually people are afraid to even like look at them and like go anywhere near them. So I'm like, no, let's do something fun. Have loads of lights everywhere, loads of LEDs, stuff flying about all over the place, stuff you can get your hands on, and just kind of get people into it and see if it's something they enjoy or not. And if they do enjoy it, then they can get their hands on right there. And come and join us. And then there's loads of people milling around. They could find their local like group. So if it's in Birmingham, we have a group you can join. What were they saying? So a joke, RE drone soccer, North Korea or South Korea. Apparently not very funny, right?
And we had the BMFA boys as well.
Yes, that was it.
They had yes, Chris brought the BMFA simulators and was getting people on that, having inexpensive crashes in a simulated environment. So there was a few people getting their first taste of flying on that. That was very cool.
Yeah. So people,
you haven't got to worry about the weather, have you? Either you just like let it rain, it can snow. I don't care.
Cool. Doesn't matter if you're in a simulator or indoors, and that's why I love flying whoops. I'm 100% convinced that the technology in these things is the cutting edge technology. Like you see the bigger drones and stuff, and they do some cool stuff. But you have multiple boards and loads of space and a big cargo like space to carry multiple cameras and head tilt, head tracking, and all that sort of thing. Or you can go really long distance, or there's a drone for everything. But actually, you just want to go really fast in the smallest form factor possible. That's what you want. One of those. You want a whoop. You get everything on one board. Like that's height of technology in my eyes, anyway.
Yeah.
And we call them toys, and we race them. Just that helps us get past the health and safety guy.
Yeah.
And then one of the nice things about the weather, we're indoors, we're in that great venue, but we also had the change of daylight as well, because Millennium Point has a massive glass roof. So as people were flying out into that huge atrium space in the daylight, the feeling of it changed as it turned to nighttime.
Yeah.
So it looked so cool.
Yeah. And I'm really I set the rules that you had to have a minimum of 2 LEDs, and they had to point like in opposing directions, so left and right, up and down, forward and backwards. I didn't mind. I've got to set a spec that people would come like build to. And some of the very some of the competitive racers, they put the lightest weight, smallest ones right, where they could. But a lot of people went to town and put loads of LEDs on, including themselves, as Cerberus is showing off. How cool are they?
That is Tron vibes there.
Who gave you those, Seb?
So the Latvians gave me their amazing glasses when we were in the restaurant afterwards. Like, they were so cool. And here you go. This is our present to you. You can have a pair of these amazing Tron glasses. So cool.
So cool. The Latvians that came over, I hadn't heard anything from Latvians in the run up to this. They just contacted me on like Facebook Messenger and said, "Yeah, we want to come over. We think we have like 4 or 5 people." I was like, "Okay, great. Like, here's the thing where you can buy tickets. There's the dates. Like, this is where it is." Gave them a bit of a rundown. They're like, "Cool, okay." And within the same day, I'm pretty sure it was the same day, they'd bought the tickets and they were coming over. I was like, "Brilliant! I've never heard from these guys before. Brilliant! Another country to to add to the international lineup." And then when they showed up, they all had matching like uniforms. So they had a full-on like sports kit going on, and they had these wicked glasses. It looked so cool.
They were proper. They were really
And
proper.
they all did a pilot intro video as well. The whole country that attended did a pilot intro video.
Wow.
Which was wicked. So I was super happy that they came. They were such a cool bunch of guys.
Can you link us? Is it up anywhere?
Yes, I suppose. Well, I should probably ask them to put their own pilot videos up. I don't know how that would work. I suppose they submitted it to us, so we can show them if Serb wants to queue one up.
If you're prepared to wade through the 8 hours of live stream on one day and 6 hours on the next, they all get played. In between heats.
So we are
just one to see how good it is.
Yeah. There you go.
It doesn't play sound though.
No, that's the gentleman that gave me the glasses. But yeah, they all had that same background, and
same tops.
They've all got the outfits. No, that was
Juris. Juris. He's like runs it. He organises the Robo Pilots in Latvia, and they like go in and out of schools, like teaching kids about how to fly with tiny whoops and stuff, and doing demonstrations and having competitions and stuff, which is really cool. So they came over all together and just came to fly, and they did really well. Like, I'm so glad that they came over, and they were super organized, super like well put together. All had like kit that all like matched. It was wicked.
I like the biscuits.
So we had Latvians over. We had the Italians were back, which was great. So Team Blue Eyes was here last year. Team Blue Eyes was back this year with the 2 Mateos and I think it's wife or girlfriend, Chiara. Sorry if I butcher your name.
No way. They had an immersion RC race control. That's cool.
Yeah, they're really cool.
The lap time.
Yeah, so we had those guys from Latvia. We had 6 racers from Italy, the Italian Dragons, and they ran their own competition out in Italy to find out who would be coming to Birmingham International.
How nice!
And they had two teams that ended up with the same points at the end of it. So they said, "Okay, cool. Well, you can both come, and some of you will have to be standby pilots, and some of you can like race, and we'll find out on the day with a race off who is going to race." And by the time it got to the actual event, a few people had dropped out, and it meant that all of the Italian guys could race, which was really good because obviously they all worked really hard to get there.
Yeah.
So we got all of the Italians were racing, which was great. They also did a video which will come up at some point. That's Berat. There he is. Guy giving me crap in the chat.
Oh, is he in the chat?
This is Idrisil. This is one of the German pilots. So we had 4 or 5 German pilots come this year, and they did really funny intro videos. No doubt they'll put it on YouTube somewhere, or we'll ask them to link them somewhere because they were incredibly funny guys. Like the stereotype of the serious German is just not true. After interacting with these guys, they're absolute. They're so funny.
What were the sort of ages of all these guys? Were they young,
big range.
old? Sorry?
Yeah, big range. How
range.
old? I can't remember. I think Archie was the youngest chap who was there, and I think he's like 15, 14, something like that.
Okay.
14, something like that. King Joshi, who competed in Korea recently, is like 14 or 15, I think. What is Idris still in the chat? I just missed out. You're talking about my race with Thornberry. Oh, rewatch the Steam. It seems like about one frame ahead. See, precise German striking from YouTube. Had so much fun. Thank you, Idrisil. We had really fun flying with you guys as well. We hope you come back next year. It was really good to see you and fly with you. Next year, I'm flying my track, right? Didn't do it last year. Didn't manage to fly my track this year. I'm flying my track next year, right? It's a thing. I don't care if we're running late. I'm just going to say, right, you can all wait. I'm going to have one battery and I'm going to fly it, okay? Because twice now I've not managed it. So, the BTW logo has all the same prop direction. Oh,
really?
That might be my graphic artist getting it wrong. Oh no, did they copy and paste? Don't point that out on the live stream. People will
come
know.
on, does it matter? It's not.
It's also all of the wiring on it is Bluetooth, so you know.
Yeah. It's quite an old logo now. I got that done in like 2018. It could probably stand for an update.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't change it too much. Maybe just change the direction.
It still needs to be obnoxious green with BTW on it.
The venue matched our colours as well. That was really cool. The AV guy at the venue was like, right, I'm going to set you up some lights. I'm going to do this. And it's like, what colours do you want? It's like, well, and I showed him all the logos and the artwork and stuff. I'm like, yep, cool, I'm on it. And he just went off and did it and just set the whole venue up with all our colours on all the lighting. It was like,
honestly, the Millennium Point are a proper premium. Well, yeah, they're a premium venue. They cost a bit, but they were worth every penny because they were so good. Honestly, cannot recommend them highly enough. They are really good.
Have you talked about going back to the same place next year? Booked it?
Yeah, so I think we need to set up a debrief meeting with the event coordinator there, Mary Claire. She was super helpful for the whole time, like dealing with our incessant questions and coming back to us with all the health and safety stuff. And we'll have a debrief with her, and it seems pretty likely we'll be back there next year. One of the main reasons for it is they let us do whatever we want, which is great. Yeah, within reason. But we had really good video. How many times did we go there, sir?
3 or 4, I think.
Yeah.
We had 3 test events. One was kind of more of an event. It was like one of our normal weekly Whoop get-togethers, but we moved it to Millennium Point. And there is a test live stream up there of it somewhere on the channel. And we got lots of pilots in the air and got them getting used to it. And it got us a lot of good data on the timing and the video stuff. And also it gave Marie Claire and the venue and their health and safety guys it gave them a chance to see the drones flying around as well. But the thing we very quickly discovered with Marie Claire was if we took enough biscuits with us, we could get away with quite a lot.
Biscuits.
That's it, bribery. That's what it's about.
That's my forward, isn't it?
But we had I think we had 10 pilots at that weekly event, 10 pilots or so, and they had a range of kit, from the very basic sort of box goggles and a standard Meteor 65 out of the box, all the way up to the most custom built Whoop with really nice external VTX and rapid fire receiver. And is that a UK 65? Oh my god.
Here you go, sir. Sorry.
You need to dust that off, sir, because I haven't seen you fly a Whoop in so long. Oh, it is brushless. Okay, I thought we were looking at a brushed one.
I've got. Oh god, I don't even know whether
I've still got brushed Whoop. I'd love to build a brushless swoop. I need to get round to it.
I think,
Guys, you should come and join us. Honestly, you should come.
I think you just buy them all done, don't you? What whoops?
Yeah.
What
You can do. You know, the best kind of starting platform for a race whoop, believe it or not, is the Modular 6 still. Like, it's still one of the best places to start. A lot of people prefer the beta FPV frames, or now they've released the Air, so that's a bit lighter. So it seems most people are running those frames. And then, honestly, like, that's a pretty competitive whoop to start with. There are various things you can swap out and like make slightly lighter, or if you prefer different VTX or stuff like that, you can do that. But honestly, it's not that difficult to get started.
How much is a whoop nowadays? All up, if you bought one.
A very time-dependent question. I think you'd probably pick up a Modular 6 for like 85, 95 pounds. And I think that comes with a couple of batteries as well. You know, this is why I love them so much, is they are super cheap. They bounce more often than they break. And you can absolutely rag them around at home without terrorizing any of your neighbors. Like, there's no no downside at all, you know. And they're competitive whoops.
I'm holding off until we get some good HD Zero whoops, because I can't go back to analog.
Hey, they exist. You've just seen the track the track camera. That was with the Walksnail 1S whoop that of Bearats. You know, that video is properly good.
Yeah, it looked good. It looked really good.
And that was one of the things. So we said in this event, it was a little bit of a tester, because in 5-inch it's not so much of a problem. You know, you have a couple of grams difference for an extra board for HD Zero. You know, it's a big video transmitting board as opposed to like the small analog ones. A few grams on a big, 5 inches doesn't make any difference, but on a whoop it makes a massive amount of difference. You're talking like 10-20% of the whole weight of the craft.
Yeah.
So it has a huge like performance difference in a whoop. But because it's a really big venue, and because it's big and it's big steel box, potentially video could be an issue with analog. Some pilots decided to run HD Zero, RC Maniac being one of them. I think Mike Was Taken as another one who was running HD Zero. A couple of them were. Mike Was Taken. Yeah, it's really good. Although Serb pronounces it slightly different.
Yeah, my lifetime garbled the name when I first put him in 5-inch racing, and he became the Finnish legend Mika Was Taken. But he wasn't that keen on it, so I just called him Mika Was Taken for about a season. But I've let him off now. I've stopped.
Yeah.
I love it. It reminds me of Formula One. It's brilliant. But a few people were running HD Zero, and the weight penalty would like outweigh having good video. And people could choose to run 31 or 35 mil props, so that would help balance that out as well. So the spec was like detailed. It was basically 1S ducted 65 mil, and after that you can have either HD Zero or analog, and that's it. You can go with whatever you want. And the idea was to be as open as you can, to get as many, be as free and let people experiment with what would work best without being too restrictive. And I think it worked really well.
Have you guys thought about going 2S, or would it be too much for that venue? Would they let you?
I have some thoughts that have not yet been aired, but that'll be maybe for next year. We'll see.
Yeah, because you could get some
proper diving through those air gates, mate.
Yeah.
Say what, you come along and
2S.
You come along and do an on-scene episode of Let's Drone Out next year for us.
It would be nice to actually have our logo on someone's sponsor list one day.
Yeah, man, that'd be wicked.
Just being, the artwork. I know. The trouble is, we cuss a bit and stuff, but not. Me personally, I don't feel like I am the best representation to the hobby. Not that I should say that out loud, but sometimes I do wonder.
Well, maybe next year we have you guys along as like some commentators, and you can pop in the box with Seb for a bit, do some commentating, do a bit of Let's Drone Out podcast off to one side, interview the people that are coming along. The idea is to try and present all sides of the hobby to the general public and show them what can be done and what's out there, because you don't know what you don't know. And at the moment, everybody sees big scary drones terrorizing people's flats or sticking sex toys on the outside of office buildings, or doing naughty things. And I want to show that it's not all about them.
We did have on both days a pilot interview kind of drop-off point, which we really want to build on and do more with. So we get to talk to the pilots and hear about what's going on in the pit. And it was basically a white wall with Matt stood there poking microphones in front of people. And the next episode, we'd really love that to be a chilled area with a sofa and some guys like yourselves there ready to kind of accept pilots, and we can throw over to the interview sofa and it worked. It was nice, but it was a bit stark.
We can improve upon it. We think it worked. It worked really well, and I like to be able to, show. And me and Sarah both agree. Like, if you can tell the story behind a pilot, which is part of the reason we did the self-introduction videos from the pilots. If you can get to know the pilots a bit more, who's behind the sticks, who's piloting this craft, and how they felt about battling for that place, and who they were able to take or not take. You can understand a bit more about where they're coming from and what their motivations are. And so we've got.
You almost need a sort of sponsor backing board and one of those stand-up tables with some Jenga.
Yeah.
And it distracts the pilots enough that they're playing Jenga to then have a casual conversation.
Yeah.
So we want to do maybe something like that in future, and get to interview people. Yeah, we did. We had a couple of really good interviews, like I say, with the drone soccer guys, with some of the guys who were here last year. It was good to be able to chat with them. I think we can do more with that in future and help people understand a bit more, like the people behind the sticks, who they are. And
that's a really standard thing we do, that view there. So that's giving you. There are 4 pilot images on the page, and while they're plugging in and getting ready, you can see, coming up is round 9, it's heat 4 of 4. These are your 4 pilots. So when the commentator's going, it's Carb, he's in the lead, there's GoPro Master right behind him, you've got this kind of, you've at least seen who they are. Yeah. And you guys know, I've been doing this with the 5-inch racing forever. And then when they're actually flying, you get their little avatar, you get their logos in the corner.
Sweet.
So
that looks cool.
You start building those relationships, and we can actually talk about the pilots.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's the plan. We're growing each year. So the first year we did this, it was literally me, a spreadsheet, and a couple of blokes in a pub flying around a few gates. The next year, it was still me and a spreadsheet and a timing puck, and it was a little bit more organised with in a proper venue, where we weren't buzzing around people's heads. We had a really good race. And then I was like, okay, this is growing. People really like it. Let's bring Serb on board. And so it got bigger for last year, where we had so many more pilots. We organised groups. We had a live stream going, commentary. We really stepped up. And we learned a lot from that. That meant this year is the biggest yet. And it has been, I'm going to blow my own horn and say it was a complete success. It was really good fun. I had a blast doing it.
It sounded great. I mean, the fact that you had people coming over from different countries, that's brilliant, isn't it? So good.
Yeah.
That keeps you awake the night before. Well, actually, 6 months before. Because, you're like, I'm just doing a woot race. And then you realise people are buying aeroplane tickets to come and take part in what you're doing. And they're booking hotels and planning thousands of miles of journey. You're like, okay, no pressure then, but we probably better get this right.
Yeah. There and there's serious competition as well coming. It's not like it's a few of your mates you met once while you're on holiday. These guys are really quick.
We were the prize, the Italians. The Italians actually competed to see who would come and fly at our event. Well, Matt's event, not my event.
Our event.
we're the prize. Like, I'm not sure about that.
It's honestly, it's a massive honor that we would have so many different countries and so many people from different countries come so far to fly with us. Like, it really is an honor. Like, and that's what makes us work really hard to make sure that it goes well. We want to make sure we're putting on a decent show. We want to make sure everyone's got a chance to do their best and really get like enough batteries through, understand the course, like it's clear which way you go. Stuff like that. I mean, we in the elite class, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the UK out of 16. 6 people out of 16 from the UK. Well, the rest of them are from Germany, Latvia, Italy, Poland. Across the countries. So
awesome.
And these were our elite winners. Yes, we got the title back. We have Carb FPV, Daniel Carbis, sitting in first place from the UK, reclaiming the Bird Elite top position for 2024, which is nice. Followed by Alexis, GoPro Master from Italy. In second place, we had, and then in third place, we've got Adrian Stanek, Adik from Poland. So first was UK, second was Italy, third is Poland, fourth is ALFPV of Team Blue Eyes, back again from Italy. Fifth was ReFPV from Latvia. Sixth was Nicola Giorgetto from Italy. Seventh was Light Sail, our next UK pilot, Bill Al-Salad. He did really well. Oh my God, he flies so fast. He came to one of the test days. He's a quick guy. So just go, like, I've seen him fly regularly and he's quick. Carb also very quick. He won, but Light Sail's fast and I see him fly regularly, and to have people faster than him turn up from other countries and dominate is so impressive, because Light Sail and King Joshi in 8th, both of them very, very fast. Ad Movie was here last year, came 9th, and along with Dan Carpi in 10th, right? So Ad Movie from Poland, Dan Carpi the UK. Dan Carpi won in 2021. Ad Movie came second in 2023. Oh, hang on, 2022 and 23. Dan Carpi was first in 22. Ad Movie second in 23. They were limited by and how far they could get up our elite class by the final structure, and it was because they came in the bottom 2 of their first heat. So like I say, every single race counts. They were limited how high up the elite class they could get because they came in the bottom 2. And, we had some good discussions about that in the pub afterwards, but it meant that people that were, first, second, third last year and the years before were limited because there's the step up to make sure that they were in the top 2 going forwards. The step up was so high and people were pushing so hard right from the beginning that it made a difference. Then we had Oscar Nova in 11th for Italy, JM, Juris Masaklis. I'm sorry, Juris, I'm getting your name absolutely butchered, but from Latvia, the main guy organising the Latvian team in 12th. Catastrophe came to 3rd last year. He was down in 13th again, getting a little bit tied up down the lower order because of the finals format. And this is what I mean. Like, we've got a whole new set of people now sitting at the top that these guys are going to want to chase next year. Mike FPV, Mike Agar from the UK, very quick guy. Glitch FPV, Max Groper from Germany in 15th, and Mr. E from SGDC, Lay down in 16th. And that was our elite class. It was incredible watching them fly, because all of them were so fast. They all put in absolutely the best.
I'm gonna have to go and have a skim through your 8 hours and have a look now.
Yeah, the racing is incredible, and it was so up close as well. That's like another of the really good things about Tiny Whip stuff, is you can stand next to the net, because we've got a net up and they're going boom, 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 straight past you. It's like you get right into it. Whereas if you stood that close to a 5-inch, you would be.
No, did you start out with whoops, or were you like always a big tiny whoop guy?
My first sort of thoughts about flight were when I was sitting in the car going to my grandma's, going down the M4 for about 3 hours from London down to Bath. And you'd get to like the end near Bath and you'd be going down like country roads. And I'd be sat there as like a 6-year-old, bored to tears, like, this is so boring. Like, just like, oh my God. And I would pretend I had sitting next to me, like in my head, it's gonna make me sound crazy. I'd pretend I'd have like a little helicopter and I'd take it off out of the sunroof of the car and fly it around. And then it would like transform into a boat and it would go into like the river next to me and speed along there. And then it would jump out off like a thing and veer the car and it would go underneath our car and come up through a little trapdoor in the bottom of the car. And that was the first sort of thing I was thinking about with like RC stuff. But honestly, when I actually became an adult and had disposable income and then started actually getting into it, it was straight into whoops. You know, I've been whoops through and through just because I'm convinced that being able to fly around at home and turn your whole house into a racetrack is just so much fun that I think everybody should be doing it. I do have a slightly bigger drone. It's not a 5-inch. It is a little
Rooster.
A little 3-inch. It's the gubbins of a GT 349R diatone, but I've put it in an Armaton HD tadpole frame. So I do have like a faster outdoor quad if I really want to go out and, you know, fly around outdoors, which I do occasionally. But I come back to whoops. I mean, I had to go with Mike. I had to go with his 6S 5-inch, and I nearly, pardon my French, crap my pants because it is so fast. I don't know how you guys think quick enough to deal with that sort of thing. Like, it's so fast.
Just point in a direction, hope for the best. In the right time.
I was so scared. Like, I can fly acro and I can do all right. I can get, because I came to one of Serb's races in the summer and I got my little 3-inch around his track, crashing multiple times. And I was like, my heart was pumping. I was like, I can't, this is too much. This is too quick for me. Like, if I crash this, I'm going to do damage. Like, I'm going to really screw it up. And then people are doing that with 5-inches that absolutely jump. Those things move so fast.
And quick.
But yeah, I don't know how you guys think quickly enough to be able to do that. What are you pointing at? Is that your race quad at the back there?
That's the three of them, yeah, the 3 races.
Yeah.
Go and grab one and show them the difference between a whoop. Just so people on the stream can see the difference. between a whoop
I'll get
and
an
a
X class as well because there's one behind
Yeah.
there.
Go and grab one.
I've seen one.
Do you have an X class, sir?
I have my original hexacopter.
Right. There you go. So that's a 5-inch and that's a whoop. Like, they're completely different beasts.
Tony's compensating.
I've got authentic racing.
Oh my God, look at that thing.
That's what
That's just rude.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Terror of the sky.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, a whoop is about the size of one of your motors.
Yeah, probably is actually.
Put Blades over Buckminster in your diary. For some X-Class stuff.
Yeah,
you haven't heard that. That's not real.
Okay, I haven't. I was a bit gutted that Wings and Wheels is cancelled.
Yeah, man, what's going on there?
I don't know. I haven't
I
really.
was so excited listening to the stream you guys had with Martin. Yeah.
Mate, he got distracted by something shiny.
I just wanted to go so I could see Andy RC again and a few other guys that I haven't seen for a couple of years. It would have been nice. But
we had a whoop tent.
We'll talk about Bob. We'll talk about Bob next week. You'll be all right.
Well, I want to show up at Andy's house wearing a Domino's pizza uniform and then just be like, pizza with extra sausage.
We have turned up at his house before.
Yeah. Tony desecrated the toilet straight away. It was amazing. Hi, nice to meet you. Unfortunately, that is all we've got time for.
It is.
What a note to it.
I know. The editor will cut it out anyway. Massive thank you and shout out to all our lovely
Oh,
patrons.
before we go, I need to say thanks to the sponsors for the event, because I mentioned our gold sponsor Happy Model and our silver sponsors Tiny Whip and Weebleed. I really appreciate you guys like jumping in and supplying like prizes and money towards the to the prize fund. Thank you so much for that. But I need to say thank you to all the other sponsors, because again, like, you guys put up such a good like support package that made all of this possible. So obviously we've got Killer Quads and FPV Racing Solutions in the background helping me actually run the event with Cerberus and the guys at Killer Quads. Millennium Point, we talk about a lot. The venue, they just let us do whatever we want, and thank you to you guys. We will have chats about coming back next year. Derpy Hooves, putting together a special minifigure for one of the prizes, and the BMFA for providing the drone simulators down in the atrium. Thank you guys, appreciate that. And then all of the brands that put together like prizes. So we've got Wi-Fi with their chargers, Cadex with the cameras and the caps and things, Hobby RC with their very generous vouchers, Team Black Sheep as well, an incredible voucher package for the prizes, GemFan, HQ Prop, both supplying some incredible like props that every single pilot walked away with a little goodie bag full of like props and stickers and all sorts of stuff like that. Beta FPV, thank you so much. You guys have been there from the beginning, from the very first one when it was just me in a pub and a few guys flying around. Thank you for supporting Birmingham International Race Day and Midlands 3D. You guys printed the trophies, and I really appreciate you guys getting involved as well. So I just want to say thank you to all of you guys out there on stream, because everybody should know that it's not like we put together the event day, but without all of these people in the background. I think I missed out Foxeer. Foxeer needs a mention as well, because they put together great prizes. The Nano VTX and some lollipop antennas, which are my personal favourite, and have saved one of my whoops from dying. Because
don't forget Jesse from Tiny Whoop, UMB here.
Jesse as well, yeah. I'm pushing that he'll be back next year. Yeah, so thank you guys to all of you guys, because like I say, without you guys, giving us the backup, we couldn't do it. And my drone, oh my god, there's so many of them. My drone, Mattin's doing photography services with drones in the Leicestershire area. Oh, hello, little doggy. Didn't see you there. Sorry, I'm going on a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just wanted to say thank you for all of those guys.
Yeah, stay on, because your recording's got to stay uploading. Thank you to all our lovely patrons who help keep the show running. Andrew/Frank, that stops him from hurting us.
Yeah, get better soon.
I hope you feel better, buddy. You've been joined by our guests, Mike and Serb.
Matt. Yeah.
Matt. Sorry, Mike. Sorry, right. Matt.
Call him anyway. It's all right.
Rebus and Mike.
I know. He's
Subaru.
I know.
Subaru, we call you next.
Long day.
Serby. And my darling wife, Tony.
Bonjour.
I know in Brighton till I die. Thank you. Good night.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Good.